This is the jet pinner. It's used to easily and quickly set pins and drapery headings. To load the pin setter, gently lift this lever on the end and pull out the central part of the pinner. I have to use draper pins on strips with the jet pinner, and they come in regular duty and heavy duty, as well as stainless steel for flame-proofed fabrics. To make the jet pinner operate more easily, I'm going to spray a little bit of silicone spray onto the strip from the central part and just a little bit into the jet pinner. You don't need to do this every time, but if you feel the pins sort of dragging a little bit, you can add a little bit more lubricant. The pins are going to slide onto this track, and you can see this is shaped like a drapery pin, so that lets me know what direction the pins go. I'm going to pull this back, and it is spring-loaded, and you'll see the spring unwind as I pull it back until it locks. And then lay the strip in place with the pins coming over the top. And they just lay in place. You might have to wiggle them a little bit to get them in place. So they're just going to hang out over the top. You'll notice the strip has a rubber stopper on it. That's to keep all the pins from falling off. So I'm going to start working that off now as all the pins get on. Now all the pins are on. I can pull off that stopper. Then I'm going to gently back up the strip and lay it in place. And then make sure all the pins are in place. Now I can put this back inside the pin setter. Being careful there not to lose any of the pins. And there are grooves on the pin setter. It's hard to see because all of this is clear. There's a groove that this will line up into. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in place. That slides right on until it locks. And you'll notice the strip came out the other end. I can now pull that away. And now it's ready to set pins into the drapery heading. I'm going to use the loaded pin setter to set the drapery pins into the top of this drapery heading, which does have French pleats on the front. I've set this at 1 3/4. This is a little measurement gauge at the top of the pin setter, and it does slide down for storage. And you can see it has numbers all the way up from 0 to 2. I'm going to set this for 1 3/4, and that's the distance down from the top of the drapery pin. The stopper here gets placed at the top of the drapery. You'll squeeze in the pin setter. That releases the pin. Put the stopper at the top and sort of rock the pin in, still squeezing, and then pull back, and then you can release the pin setter, and that leaves the pin in place. You can see that's really easy, and you get very fast and efficient at it. You want to hold the pleat on the back firmly. I'm going to show you how to replace the pick-off and the cartridge on the pin setter. Now, the pin setter is a great time-saving tool when you're setting pins in your draperies, but it can wear out over time. If you find that the pins are not coming out properly, you might need to replace the pick-off. So we do sell replacement parts for that. You'll get them, and to replace the pick-off, you're going to pry off the end here, and it's clear, so it's hard to see. But you just pry out one end, and then you can take the whole piece off. And we're just going to set that aside. It does have a spring in it, so I'm going to carefully turn it upside down so I don't lose the spring, and set that aside. Now I can slide out the old pick-off and then put the replacement part in its place. And then I have to line back up the spring onto the little knob and make sure that this hole goes underneath. It's a little tricky, but you can push back on the spring. That goes underneath and then back into the little grooves on either side. So that's been replaced. Now to replace the cartridge, this part's really easy. If you know how to put your pins in already, you lift up on the end, pull the cartridge out. And if you have an older model of the clear, it'll have a clear cartridge, but the replacement cartridge is going to be black. So that goes back in place. So now your pin setter is ready for more years of use.